Notre Dame is one of those programs that every time they get to the college football playoffs, people say, man, this team's overrated. They get there and they never do shit. But I think that Notre Dame, when I ask this question, are they overrated or overrated? I mean to ask, yeah, they don't have a lot of success when it comes to the BCS national championship game, getting blasted by Alabama and, losing in embarrassing fashion in the college football playoffs on a couple of occasions. But we at least have to give them props for at least making it, right? Because we make it seem like Notre Dame hasn't done anything. Making it to the college football playoffs is an accomplishment. Making it to a national championship is an accomplishment, regardless of the final result. So, how do you feel about Notre Dame football overall, at least right now? Do you think they're overrated or are they overhated?
Okay. I am probably the world number one critic when it comes to saying Notre Dame's overrated, just because I live in Indiana, and mostly people around here think they're so good. Okay. Here's what I'll say. I'll talk about Notre Dame in the past, and then I'll talk about them going into this year. The year the year they played Alabama in the national title, I think that was 2012, something like that. I remember my dad's from the South. My dad's from Smithville, Tennessee. He's a big SEC guy. And I was like maybe 8 at the time. And I was like, Dad, Notre Dame's gonna win the national title. Everyone tells me Notre Dame's good. He goes, I bet you Alabama beats them badly. And they did. And they did. And that Notre Dame team should have never played for a national title. They went 14-0 by playing absolutely nobody. The two other times they the playoff, I mean, they were okay. They were all right in those years. I'm pretty much always the first person to say Notre Dame's overranked. Notre Dame will not live up to expectations this year. Notre Dame will not be good because, okay, Purdue is IU's biggest rival. I will root for Purdue if they're playing Notre Dame because Notre Dame fans are so annoying. I can't stand. You can at least have a respectful conversation with a Purdue fan. That being said, though, I think Notre Dame will live up to the hype this year. I think they will be really good this year because Sam
Hartman. Thank you.
Dude, that guy is a stud. I think he will be great at Notre Dame. Now, their schedule's pretty tough. They have some tough games. They got to play at Clemson. At Duke won't be easy. They have Ohio State at
Even
home.
Louisville.
Louisville will be good, too, with they got the Browns now. Jeff Brom's their coach. He left Purdue. I think Notre Dame, because here's the thing. They lost to Ohio State last year.
But it was close.
It was a close game, and they had, what's his name at quarterback? They had Buckner.
Tyler Buckner. He's Alabama's problem.
They lost Marshall, and everyone laughed at him. My friend is a real big Marshall fan. He was celebrating like for the whole month.
Those exist?
Yeah, he's from West Virginia. But after those two games, they turned it around. They were really good. They beat Clemson. They beat South Carolina in that bowl game. They were really good, and that was without really a true quarterback. I was really impressed the way Marcus Freeman turned that year around. I was really impressed to where now they have a quarterback, and most of that momentum from the next year, I think they're going to be good. I think they'll be really good. I actually, in my preview for Ohio State, I had them losing to Notre Dame. Reason being is because Ohio State's going to have a new quarterback, Kyle McCord, who hasn't really started in a full capacity. I'm going to say, just for my pride, it'll be his second true road game because his first game of the year is at IU, and I hope we'll make it a true road game atmosphere. I don't think we'll win, but I hope we can at least compete. But playing at Notre Dame in a primetime game is different than playing at IU in a 2:30 game. I think they will lose that. I think Notre Dame will win that game. I think they'll lose at Clemson. I think that'll be a really tough game. I think they'll lose at Clemson. I feel like Clemson's another team. People think they won't be that great. Cade Klubnik's really good, too. I think they will lose. I think they'll lose to Clemson, and they play USC will be a really good game. I don't know if they'll beat USC. I feel like they'll lose to Clemson, and I feel like they'll lose one other game. But if they go undefeated, I don't know if they will. But if they go undefeated, I won't have an issue with them making the playoffs.
I honestly think this may be the best Notre Dame team that we've seen in a very long time. And last year, I thought Tyler Buchner was going to be that guy. He was one of the better quarterbacks that they recruited, and he just didn't work out. Drew Pine, I thought he was okay at times, but Sam Hartman is really that guy. The biggest knock that
this guy Wake Forest in the top 10.
Exactly.
That's how good this guy is.
And there's a misconception, I think, about Notre Dame football that they don't have a great wide receiving core. Is their wide receiving core the best in college football? No, it's not. But I do think that they have enough, especially with Sam Hartman being the quarterback, that they should get productive play out of their wide receivers. And what really makes a killing for Notre Dame is the talent that they have at tight end. They're tight end you pretty much. And they have one of the best offensive lines in college football. You got Joe Alt at tackle. I think their running back core is pretty good. And they're going to have a phenomenal defense. They could have a top 10 defense.
Marcus Freeman, that was one thing. Marcus Freeman's a defensive-minded coach, and his defense performed through, like, especially in that Clemson game, because they had him shut out, like, in the first half. That's why I think they're in a lot better shape than Oklahoma. I'll ask you this though: Do you think that with all these college football super conferences and stuff, do you think they'll eventually join Do you think they'll eventually join a conference? You don't think they will?
No, Notre Dame is just, for some reason, Notre Dame just has pull, fam. Like the ACC,
and that's why I don't like them. That's why I can't stand them, because all their fans have their heads.
They have like it. I ain't gonna hold you. I saw an article when it came to the ACC expansion. I don't know if you've seen it, how they wanted to add Stanford and Cal and SMU, and the Notre Dame athletic director, he's sitting here shouting, it's a disgrace to college football that Stanford and Cal, two of the best academic institutions in the world, could not be playing in a Power 5 conference. Well, I mean, that's their fault. Care more about athletics. You get what I'm saying? Like, why are you Notre Dame, who's not even an official member of the ACC for football, having a say in this? And I think I saw a report that said that a lot of other ADs in the ACC are a little bit annoyed with Notre Dame and all this pull they have. But the thing with Notre Dame is that they are a big brand with a big fan base, and they bring in a lot of revenue. In whichever conference they want to join, I think they will be welcomed with open arms, because if you're the Big Ten, you're not going to turn down Notre Dame because it's Notre Dame. Same thing with the SEC. It's like if Notre Dame was to join your conference, you're going to accept them. But it's just, I think a lot of people are turned off to Notre Dame because they walk to the beat of their own drum, which I kind of like, honestly.
What really annoys me about Notre Dame is that, say what you want, they are afraid of the Big Ten. They are so afraid of the Big Ten, they won't join it. They'll play Michigan they'll do a home and home with Michigan every once in a while. They'll do a home and home with Ohio State every once in a while. I feel like they know they can't handle playing Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, even Michigan State. Sometimes I know they're not going to be good this year, but they would rather play a bunch of middle of the road ACC teams, and because they know they can't handle it in the Big Ten. That's why they're going to pick and choose. That's part of why I really can't stand Notre Dame, is because they do all this, and they're like, oh, well, we fancy ourselves as an independent. It's like, you are right in the middle of Big Ten country. They're directly between Purdue, Michigan, Ohio. They're right in the middle of Big Ten. They apparently, I heard this, and when the Big Ten was forming, they didn't want them because I don't even know what. I think like Michigan's AD in like the 1920s was like, oh, well, we do not want this Catholic school in our conference. And so that's whether like they just have this grudge. But like bro, that's 100 years ago. Like, if you wanted to join the Big Ten, they would let you. They're taking Washington and Oregon. If you wanted to, you could come. They don't want to.
And the thing with Notre Dame, apparently, all these conference realignment articles that I read, they all say that Notre Dame is one of the biggest players that could really turn conference realignment upside down. Like, if they were to join the SEC, the Big 10, the Big 12, whoever else would have to make a move ASAP.
If they're scared of the Big 10, they are for sure. If they're scared of the Big 10, they're petrified of the SEC. I don't even remember when even was the last time they played an SEC team.
I do remember them. Did they beat Florida that one year? When they had Malik Zaire at QB?
No, they played Georgia. They did a home and home against Georgia. I think they lost. They lost both games.
But one thing about Notre Dame, though, with Marcus Freeman, their recruiting has picked up, and they do have a pretty good NIL collective. So I think whichever conference, if they were to choose to join one, talent-wise, I think they'll be able to compete. Brian Kelly wasn't able to recruit there for some reason, but Marcus Freeman just has the secret sauce.
I think Marcus Freeman's like a younger coach. I think he'll be a really good recruiter, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
I honestly think that Notre Dame could have some of their best years ever under Marcus Freeman.
They could.
Honestly, because if Brian Kelly can get that program as far as what he did with the limitations that he claimed he had, and Marcus Freeman is able to take the lock off those limitations and just fully unlock the potential of Notre Dame football, I don't see any reason why they shouldn't be in the conversation nearly every year, because it's not like they're bringing in, top 15 classes. Like, Notre Dame, if they really wanted to, could bring in a top 5 class if they have the necessary NIL collective to do so. And I don't
know if they have the potential to bring in like a top 5 class every year, because a lot of people are turned off by the whole like independent thing. But yeah, I think they do have potential to be really good. And here's the thing: if they join the Big Ten, they would be making so much more money. But they have their own. Basically, the TV deals are running everything, and they have their own deal with NBC, which I don't know how they would even do that. I saw one thing. They said that the Longhorn Network is the main reason why everything's happening, because they had there's like a meme where they have like the domino that's like this big, and then the one that's like the size of a door, and they keep getting bigger. It was like the Longhorn Network caused Colorado and Nebraska and Missouri and Colorado,
Texas
Missouri,
A&M?
Yeah, and A&M, caused them all to leave the Big 12. So then, because they're like, well, we don't want Texas to be getting all the money from the Longhorn Network, so we're just going to leave. And so that's how they got Baylor and TCU and all them. And then that led to the Big 12 being not great. That's what led to Texas and Oklahoma eventually leaving, and that's what led to the Big 10. And then it ended with like the Pac-12 being gone, which I feel really bad for Oregon State, Washington State, Stanford, and Cal. Because Stanford was a top 10 team not that long ago. And Oregon State's supposed to be really good this year. Oregon State is ranked in 18. They have the ukulele transferring in from Clemson. Oregon State's going to be a really good team. They beat Florida like 30-3 in a bowl game. Oregon State's going to be really good. And then they're going to be in a conference with 4 teams.
And Notre Dame just refuses to join the conference while they just see everything else unfolding in madness.
They're kind of just sitting there like, nice. But eventually, here's the thing. They now have to go undefeated to make the playoff, like every year. They can't afford to make the playoff with 1 loss. And I feel like they're going to have to really start, because I forget what was the 1 year they made the playoff, they played one ranked team and then got blown out by Alabama or whoever.
You know what? I still don't think Notre Dame is going to join the conference even with expansion. You want to know why? Because Notre Dame is just one of those schools that just finds ways to work around the system. You remember that COVID year where they temporarily joined the ACC and then made it to the ACC championship?
That was crazy, man. My friend who's a Notre Dame fan, he's like, we have more conference title appearances than Miami. I know you're a big.
How
I know you're a big.
embarrassing is that? Like Notre Dame just can't find a way to lose, and they're like Thanos. Regardless of how difficult you think it's going to be for them to get to college football playoff appearance, they just find a way to get there. Because when we went to 4 teams, I don't think anybody thought that Notre Dame was ever going to be able to reach the playoffs, but they did. And it's like every time you count out Notre Dame, they just find a way. They're just a really smart and well-ran university in terms of, how they go about handling their business, how they go about getting new TV deals, and how they go about manipulating the ACC. Like, let's just keep it 100, bro. Like, the ACC is getting played by Notre Dame. Like, Notre Dame kind of, runs the ACC somewhat.
Well, because they're in there for basketball. Because, for basketball, they're in the ACC. For all these other, they're actually Notre Dame is in the Big Ten for hockey, which is pretty interesting because, not every Big Ten team is a hockey team. Like, Indiana doesn't have one. I wish they did because that'd be so much fun to go to hockey games. But Notre Dame, the Big Ten teams that are really good at hockey are Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State, and Notre Dame also is really good in hockey. So they joined the Big Ten for hockey, but they can't do it for, I don't know. They just kind of do whatever they want, and somebody needs to give them a reality check that they just can't run around doing whatever they want because they think they're a lot better than they are.
Yeah, I will agree with that. I do feel like Notre Dame kind of feels like they're this upper echelon blue chip program. Now they are a blue blood program for what that's worth, but
they have no national title since 1998.
But at the same time, though, it's
1988. Actually.
But hold up, though. At the same time, though, this is what makes them interesting. We say they're not an elite program, but people consider USC and Texas to be elite programs, and Notre Dame has had way more success in the last decade than what USC and Texas have had.
For a really long time, Texas was not an elite program. They had losing records under Charlie Strong in them. For a while, Texas was really bad, and USC not that long ago wasn't great either. And even Notre Dame had some years where they weren't very. I think they had one year where they were under 500 or something. But yeah, I just can't stand. Their fans are so annoying. I know you live in Florida. You probably don't encounter that many Notre Dame fans.
Believe it or not, I make a good amount of Notre Dame content because their fans eat it up. I just up that.
But really around Chicago, okay, if you're a college football fan in Chicago, Notre Dame's the closest, I guess, power program. Unless you want to root for Northwestern, which, believe me, you do not want to do this. If you're a Northwestern fan, find another team. You get a bandwagon pass. From me to you, you get a bandwagon pass to pick whatever team you want to cheer for because they're going to be really bad. They might go winless. I'm not even kidding. They might go winless. But yeah, they're all around Chicago, and okay, I get I get the people that were Notre Dame fans that but they just pass them down. They just keep coming in the next generations, and they're so annoying.
What's annoying about them? That really frustrates you.
They think that every year they think they're the best team ever, and they think they're just so entitled. They think you can never talk to them. You can never say that they won't be that great this year. They always just have something to say about how we made the playoff. It's both of the years they made the college football playoff, they really weren't that great of teams. I know I get that they may have been deserving to, but they've had multiple years where they are way higher ranked than they should, and every year they're just so annoying. Whenever they're doing well, you will just never hear them shut up. And then they'll lose a game, and then they'll be like, "Oh, it's because of this. It's because of this. It's because of this. It's because of this." They're relentless, man. They're relentless.